and I'm excited. I'm excited for this episode. This might be the most excited I've been for an episode
Yeah.
since we started, honestly.
Hmm.
But before that, we got to do our little top five.
Woo-woo. Yes, we
Yeah.
do. Yes, we do. Jared dropped this top five on me, and I was like, "What?" And but it's all good. It's all good. After a few minutes of thinking, I was like, "Okay, I can actually think of five that I
Mhm.
like." But we're doing top five music projects by actors. So if they've acted and if they've played a thing, then they're on the list. Um, uh, I'll. Did you want to go first? Or should I go first?
Um, you can go first. I feel like I always go first on these now.
Okay, okay. My number five is probably the only like major curveball on the list.
Mm.
Because he's not really. He's mostly known as a writer, director, sound designer, general weirdo. But he has acted in his own stuff and he has acted in other people's stuff, most notably in the show Louie on FX. But I'm talking, of course.
For some reason, my mind went to Quentin Tarantino as like some music career.
No, 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 no,
I
no.
don't know why. I was like, why am I thinking Tarantino right
No. Of course, I'm talking about my boy David Lynch in
now?
his album The Big Dream. My favorite
Mm.
songs off this album are The Big Dream and a bonus track called I'm Waiting Here. For some of you, this may be a very, very difficult album to listen to because it's just as
It
weird
is
as everything else
David
that,
Lynch.
yeah, because it's David Lynch. Um, but I really enjoy it, especially like his like weird, um, distorted auto tune in the first track. It's very, very fun and interesting if you're a David Lynch stan like me.
Hell yeah. My number five is a bit of a curveball too. It's the
Ooh,
only one on my list not known to be an actor, um, but he's here nonetheless. He has acted. He's more known as a basketball player uh,
what?
because in 2014, Shaquille O'Neal had a bit of a rap career,
Yes, he
and it's
did.
actually
Yes, he
it's
did.
actually pretty tight. I'm actually into it.
Yep.
Uh, if you're unaware, Shaq he's got some sweet songs like "I Know I Got Skills" and "What's Up, Doc?" (parentheses Can We Rock?). Um, he's just great. He's got like it's not the best rapping. It's just not.
Right.
But he's got like charisma and he's genuinely funny, and so
Yeah.
you get some decent bars out of it. And it's just an entertaining listen. And
Yeah.
so Shaq's my number five.
Shaq's great, man. I feel like
Yeah.
he's like filling the void of America's dad as the older he gets.
Yeah,
And
absolutely. And I'm
yeah,
I'm down.
yeah.
Fuck a Tom Hanks. He's my real dad.
Yep, yep. Um yeah, I said before I was having trouble thinking of some, but I remembered the entire cast of Stranger Things could sing. So I was like, all
Yeah,
right.
true.
Um, so for number four, I went with a pretty recent one. It's Blush by Maya Hawke, who starred in
Mm.
season three of Stranger Things. It's just a, it's not anything mind blowing, but it's a nice vocal pop, country influence, folk influence album. Just kind of her and a couple instruments. But I really like the songs "Hold the Sun" and "So Long."
Hell yeah. Yeah, she's tight. Everybody, every single musician on that show has like great music for some reason.
Yeah, it's great.
Did you ever get a chance to listen to Joe Keery's music?
I did not. I did not. I
Uh,
spent too much
it's
time
tight.
listening to her and Calpurnia, but yeah.
Yeah, yeah. It barely missed my list, but it's like some 80s synth shit. It's tight.
Ooh.
Yeah. But he's not my number four, because my number four is reserved for the ever talented Michael Cera. He
All
he
right.
uh he released like a full indie folk album in like 2014. He's got a
Okay.
song with Sharon Van Etten. And it's honestly super tight.
Okay.
You get some cool vulnerability out of a guy you don't really see that from often. And he's got a halfway decent voice, but he's still got that like kind of reserved, mousy feel to him.
Hmm.
But overall, it's some pretty good shit.
Nice, nice. What was the song called again?
My favorite is Clay Pigeons. Ruth is pretty good.
Oh,
Best I Can has Sharon Van Etten on it, and she's always a gem.
okay.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, check it out.
Yeah. I like the original Clay Pigeons, so I'm sure I'll like that. But
Yep.
unless it's a different song called Clay Pigeons.
I
But
actually don't
yeah,
know. I couldn't tell you.
my number three is quite different. But uh, for those of you who don't know by the sound of my voice or whatever, like if you look at my last name, I'm Filipino. And
What?
and part of my, or if you watch the YouTube, which no, you don't. Um, uh, what was I gonna say? Oh yeah. Part of being Filipino is that you're contractually obligated to be a loud and proud cheerleader for every Filipino artist.
Yeah.
um,
I
even
told you
if
we were
it's
celebrating your heritage on this episode.
yep, yep, exactly. That's why I was like, yes. Yeah, like even Enrique Iglesias, who's like a Latino artist, like we're like, yeah, we claim him. His mom's Filipino. um, but one other person we claim just broke out this year, or I guess last year, with the song "Driver's License," which went super viral. Of course, I'm talking about the album "Sour" by the artist Olivia Rodrigo, star
Mhm.
of High School Musical, the series.
Yeah.
Shit.
Great title.
But I think Deja Vu and Hope You're Okay are super well written and super well
Mhm.
performed songs. And I'm sure it's going to be on a lot of people's lists of favorite albums of this year.
Yep.
Yeah, Sour.
Deja Vu is one of my favorite Lord impressions I've ever
Yep, yep. I love it.
heard. She wears her influences on her sleeve, but she's got a lot of talent. I'm excited to see where she goes for
Yeah,
sure.
especially for like an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Someone who we've already seen where they went and where they currently are. At my number three, we've got an actor comedian who has one of the biggest hits of the 80s for some reason. I'm talking Eddie Murphy, Party
Yeah.
All the Time. Yeah, how many actors team up with Rick James to blast a 80s classic in everybody's face for years to come. It's great. He's hilarious and he's a talented musician. So I'm throwing him at number three.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I love, love, love it. My number two is also in the comedy sphere.
Mhm.
So is my number one, but my number two is a little bit more recent than that. Uh, they started out actually as a musical act, but then they uh, became actors and still continue to make music.
Why do I feel like I know where this is going?
Um, of course, I have to include "Turtleneck and Chain" by the Lonely Island.
Hmm.
Um,
Yo.
as much as I love the songs on Popstar, there are a lot of skippable songs on that album, so I didn't pick it. Same with Incredibad. But Turtleneck and Chain, like songs like Jack Sparrow and Threw It on the Ground are just so
Hmm.
iconic. Not just because of the music videos, but just they're like fun to listen to. And they also have Snoop Dogg, and Snoop's like verse on Turtleneck and Chain is like actually kind of gangster, even though he's
Yeah.
singing about a turtleneck and chain. um, it's great, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't have them on my list. I forgot about them once again. I think
I was
I
so
think
afraid I
for
was gonna steal it
this,
from you.
no, you're good. I think for this, I like I don't know. I feel like I know them as musicians, and like the acting is just a part of that for some reason. I don't know
Oh
why.
yeah,
It just didn't even cross my mind to include them.
yeah, man.
And now I feel bad about it once again. My number two is a bit of a deep cut.
Ooh.
One of my favorite actors of recent years has to be Ryan Gosling.
What?
And a long time ago, he teamed up with like a childhood friend and made a indie folk pop horror based album with a children's choir called Dead Man's Bones. And it's fucking good. Like it's
Okay.
weird as shit, but it's worth a listen. They played every instrument, even though they didn't know how to play half of them. And so you get this weird, like, but genuine attempt, and it kind of pays off. It's worth a listen for sure.
Holy shit. Wow. Okay. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
downloading it right now.
yeah, do it, dude. It's a
I love
bop.
I love me some Ryan Gosling, so we got to save it. My number one is not obscure at all. In fact, it's
Mhm,
sort of a soundtrack, but it also stands out well on its own as an album. I actually listened to the album before I watched the movie, so
mhm.
that's how good and well structured the story of this album is. Of course, I'm talking about "The Pick of Destiny" by Tenacious D. Uh,
Yo.
Songs like "Kickapoo" and "Classico" and "Master
A
Exploder."
longest fucking time ago, and a time ago, kick a pole.
Yup. Exactly, exactly. Like Master Exploder changed my life. Like I was
Yeah.
like, you could do that with yours. Like, and Jack Black is like a legitimately great singer.
Uh,
If you don't believe me, Google him singing the national anthem. It's amazing. And I also really love this song Beelzebub, The Final Showdown. Yeah, great album. And just yeah, an amazing and funny and weird acoustic metal album.
yeah. Absolutely. Definitely got a good place in both of our hearts. But not my number one. My number
Ooh.
one is mostly just for shock value, is why it's this high.
Okay.
Because this shit's gonna be like the fact of the podcast. Um, but in the 80s as well, uh, a actor, comedian who I have very mixed feelings about, mostly negative in terms of his acting and stand up. But Ricky Gervais was in a new wave synth pop band called Sayona Dancing that reached like number one for a long ass time in the Philippines. Um,
What?
and if that's
What?
not mind blowing, I don't know what is. But it's genuinely good. He's just doing a David Bowie impression to some synth pop, but it's fantastic. I really like it.
Oh my god. I had
Yeah.
no idea. I
Yeah,
had
their
no.
their single "More to Lose" was a teen anthem in the Philippines for like a decade.
I gotta ask my dad about that. That's awesome.
Yeah. So
Uh,
number one, Sayona dancing.
Man, what a list. That was great.
Yeah,
I'm surprised we had
yeah,
no overlap. That was cool.
yeah. Look at us go. I'm always proud of us when we pull that off.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. I'm surprised there's no Flight of the Concords on your list either.
Yeah, same thing as like Lonely Island and Tenacious D. I don't know why. I was just like know their music more than their like acting, and so in my mind, I just kind of let him go.
Hmm.
Um, Also, it's a lot funnier to just talk about Ricky Gervais and the synth pop band, and so
True. True.
yeah. If
That's funny,
I would
man.
genuinely put all three of those on a list of like ones that I listen to most and actually like appreciate more.
Yeah.
But fuck it. Ricky Gervais and Ryan Gosling, weird, obscure music.
Hell yeah.
Also, not making my list, but Bruce Willis was a blues rock artist a while ago too, and it's pretty bad, but it's
Yeah.
worth note.
I almost included him just to make fun of him.
Yeah.
Same with William Shatner.
Mhm.
Did you ever listen to that cover that I told you about?
Yeah. Wasn't good,
No.
but I couldn't stop listening.
A girl with kaleidoscope eyes.
Oh, it's great.
Yeah. Oh my god.